get this boring stuff out of the way. We'll pass it on to Brett and move into a demo where, this is really the stuff I think you guys are going to want to see.
All right, thanks, Brandon. Really great overview of some of the technical benefits of Operator Connect. And now we'll look at the portal where the magic happens. In addition to what we've just talked about, some of the technical benefits of Operator Connect, our platform brings some value adds that I'll call out as well as we're going through. As Brandon mentioned, at its core, Operator Connect allows you to manage your own carrier level telephone number inventory. So in this case with G12, this means you're going to be able to order new numbers, port, provision, disconnect, and everything else in between yourself, which we'll take a look through as we go through. Now, the second main benefit is that it doesn't require a service count. So G12 has no direct connection to your ecosystem, which is part of the security that Brandon mentioned, though there is an area where you have the option to provide it for additional benefits that are unique to the portal that we're using. So let's just walk right through it. So here is where I would order numbers. And I can order new numbers. I can port existing numbers. We can do it with local numbers or toll free. One of the nice things about ordering the new numbers through here is just like if you were contacting the carrier directly, you're going to be able to select some of your numbers. And that's a nice part about it too. If you're in the middle of an order and you try to start another order, it's going to let you know. All right, so as we go through, we're going to be able to select our region. Right now, we're supporting North America. We will be bringing more international as time goes on. And then on this next screen is where I'm going to be able to determine what numbers I want to order. So I can select my country. I can bring up which state I want to get them from. And then at this point, it's defaulting to 50 or sequential, whether I need 50 or not, or more numbers. Maybe I only need 10. I could still look at all 50 and then cherry pick the ones that I want to have. So now maybe I've ordered the numbers and it's defaulting to 206. I decide that I need some 425 numbers. I can just change my search that quickly to get the numbers that I'm looking to have. Once I've made my selection, I'm going to add them to my cart and reserve them so that nobody else can go grab them that's doing this at the same time. And here is where I can select the CNAM, which is the caller name. This is the name that people are going to see when you're making an outbound call.
And I'll call out there that it's completely optional.
Correct. And then once we get to the end, it's as simple as confirming you agree to the terms of services, you submit your order, and the numbers are going to appear in the platform in just a few seconds. Now, I'm not going to order numbers for the purposes of this demo. We already have some ordered that we can take a look at, but that's how easy and quick it is to get your numbers. And then the porting process, while it takes a little bit longer to actually complete, as far as getting it started, it's going to be just as simple. Now I'm going to delete that new order number before we start a port order. And this is going to be the same, whether it's a toll-free or a local. Again, we're going to select our region. I'm going to port a United States number. You do have the ability to upload a file for multiple numbers. I'm just going to show it with a single number. And if you've ever ported before and you've had to fill out a PDF or a paper version of a letter of authorization, given your carrier the option to take the numbers over, this is all exactly the same information. Now it's just all online. So you're going to do the same thing as when you order. I'm not going to go through all of this at this point. But it's the same thing where you'll digitally sign and authorize G12 to take the numbers. And once you click submit, after the preview and the signature, that port process has started. And you're going to get information back on the status that it's been received, what date has been selected or confirmed if you've selected your own date, and everything in between. Now, porting is kind of a unique process specific to the industry. So if at any point you're having trouble with the porting, G12 does have a team of experts that would be happy to assist you. Once your numbers have either been ported or you've ordered your new numbers, they become available to provision. By default, provisioning your numbers is going to push the numbers from our portal to your team's admin portal into the phone number inventory. And then the team's admin can now go in there and assign them to a properly licensed user. Or if you've pushed them over as an auto attendant or call queue, you can push them over that way as well. And so we'll get one pushed over. And if it's completed in time, it can take a couple minutes. We'll have Brandon show us in the Teams admin portal how that's going to look. So we're going to see that it is started. One thing that you won't see here during this demo, but if you do give us access, and it's absolutely not a requirement, especially if you need that security, but if you do give us a service account so that our system would then be able to also assign users. So at this point, out of the box, Operator Connect allows you to order the numbers, push them over to your Teams admin center. A value add that G12 can bring is the ability to assign those users as well in a bulk way, which saves you from having to use PowerShell, for example. One of the FCC requirements is that every number does need to have 911 associated with it. These are 911 addresses that have been built out in Teams. So I'll select which address this should go to, assign it. And once we submit, it's going to start the process. And it takes a minute or two. But if you wanted to keep an eye on it, you would see that it is queued. I'm going to move on from this screen. But if we stayed here, we'd see as it updates. So that is how you can provision the users and make them available to Teams. And you've seen it, it's probably taken us less than 3 minutes to get this far. That's how quickly it can be done for one or more numbers. Now, another add that G12 can bring with our platform is the ability to separate your numbers via departments. So if you're in kind of a decentralized situation where multiple people are handling specific sets of numbers, whether it's for support, accounting, or any other department, you can limit your admins in this portal to only being able to see and manage specific numbers that are associated with their department. And that makes sure that they don't start accidentally interfering with other numbers. Otherwise, if you're centralized, this could also just be used as a categorization, so you know which team or group or department in your corporation that the numbers are associated with. So now we've ordered our numbers or ported them, we've provisioned them, and now we can kind of see what's happening to them in Microsoft Teams, or that they're available to Microsoft Teams. This first section here, where DID or toll-free, is going to give us the ability to do some carrier level functionality with the numbers outside of the Teams environment. Now, one of the coolest parts about this is that it also gives you at a glance kind of the status of every single number. So we can see if call forwarding has been enabled in the case of a disaster. I'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. If a calling name has been added, or caller ID, what the E911 address is, and its status. So we see we have one down here that's still in process, which is the number that we just provisioned to Teams. And then we can see the rest of the information as well. Now, if I select some of these numbers, I can also make changes to one or many. We can change that calling name that shows up. We could forward numbers. We could have, this is the calling party number translation, is the caller ID, the number that shows up when a person makes an outbound call. Maybe you want everybody to show the main corporate number. You can add or remove international calling from individual users. You can add that disaster plan, disconnect numbers, and assign departments. So all of this is done at the G12 level and can be done by anybody with access to this portal, even if they're not Teams admins. Once a number has been made available to Teams and has been assigned to a user, it's going to show up in this filtered list under assigned users. Now, the out-of-the-box Operator Connect, when you see the name, because we don't have direct access, we're not going to be able to know who the user is that it's actually connected to. We're just going to see it's connected, whether that person's available, what features they may have operating at that time. If you have given us a service account so that we can do some of that user assignment directly from the from our portal, then you're going to see their actual usernames here, which will make it a little bit easier to keep track of natively within the portal. And then while you lose some of that security, if it's necessary, the big benefit, again, I want to call out is that if you give our portal that access, you don't have to make group updates using PowerShell. And that can be a big time saver, or maybe you're just starting on your team's journey and you don't have somebody that knows PowerShell. We can really add that value and make it easier for your company to adopt. One from within here as well, I can also unassign the numbers if we're rotating through employees. The other part in here that I want to call out is being able to assign Teams calling policies. So just like a Teams admin, a person that has access to our portal is going to be able to create calling policies and assign them to individual users. And you create those policies right down here under manage. And so this very much mimics exactly what a Teams admin could do to create policies within Teams. It just gives that ability ported over here to the portal as well. I think in a lot of cases, we're going to find that the admin who has access to this portal and the Teams admin are going to be one and the same. But if you're in a situation where they're different, there's going to be some of that burden of what the Teams admin needs to do can be taken on by the person who's managing your telephone number inventory as well. Next area we want to take a look at, this is a value add of our portal versus just out of the box Operator Connect, is the ability to enable and disable disaster plans. So this would be if maybe your office has lost power, has lost network connectivity, something is impacting your employees' ability to log into the network or receive calls, but it's not impacting G12's ability to provide you calls. You can, at the click of a button, execute or revert back a disaster plan. So this would be setting up, so if somebody calls your main line, it's now going to forward to another office that maybe isn't having the same issue, or to a cell phone for emergency assistance. So you can essentially keep connected to all your clients and customers, even if your site particularly has gone dark. So that's hopefully you never need to use it, but it's great to have that option if you need it. Under this manage section, there's just a couple features that I wanted to kind of highlight, as we've already talked a little bit about the rest of them, and that's bulk features. This does allow you to update a few things using a CSV file instead of either going through the portal or doing it as a Teams admin. So if you're more comfortable using a CSV file, or in your ecosystem, you just find it easier to use, you already have it from another system, you can update all of that, get a template and update it all from here in bulk. Reports are primarily going to be useful if you ever need to manipulate your inventory, whether you're running reports for other teams or executives, or you need to add other information to it that wouldn't natively be by standard part of the information that's in the system. You can export it as a CSV file, and then you can add and manipulate it in any way, shape, or form that you need to. The last thing I wanted to talk about was integration, as G12 brings on third-party integrations for things like SMS or call recording. If they're available to you, you're going to see the options to connect to them here under the integration section. So I'll kind of leave off by saying that while we want to give you guys the absolute power to fully manage your ecosystem from start to finish, from the ordering the numbers, porting it, all the way to disconnecting them and everything that happens in between, G12 does have a dedicated support and service delivery team who are available and happy to help you at any step along on the journey, whether you're a partner, a customer, so you can reach out to us at any time.